guys, welcome back. This is part 3 of my interview with Miss Jenn Wexler, who you probably know directed The Ranger. And if you don't know, then you should, and you should stay tuned. Now, what is the best piece of advice that you have for others about working in the industry?
Never give up. Perseverance. But I actually think, it sounds tacky, but I actually think that's true. Because it takes a long time to get things going. I take like every single stage of it. Actually, until the money is in the bank, it feels like the movie is never going to happen. So you must persevere. You must keep going in the face of rejection. If someone says, "Oh no, it's not really for us," then be like, "Cool, man," and go to the next finance person and just keep going until you get that thing financed. But also, it works on many levels. Never give up. Chase your dreams. Don't be deterred. The only person that can stop you is you.
I love all that, and I think that that's all really great advice. I would add one caveat to listen to all of that, but to add to it, don't lie.
Yeah.
Because I find people I don't feel like everybody intentionally lies, but I see a lot of people that burn bridges because they want to believe that meeting where they hope they're going to get the money is there, and then they'll go to their effects people and their actors and be like, "I have the money, lock these dates." And then when that doesn't happen and these people have given up dates or time, that's when relationships get broken.
Yes.
And severed, and where you look like an asshole.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
don't do that.
lie.
Don't do that.
But do all that stuff. Just be really honest.
Yeah.
And the other thing, even as an actor, I'm you can always come to me and be like, "Hey, look, I don't have the money. I'm working on it. I'm hopeful. Can you do me a favor and keep me posted if anybody asks you for these dates?" Absolutely. I'll come to you.
Yeah, you have to be really careful of when you're asking people if they'd be interested in working on a project versus when you're actually having them commit to the project. There's a fine line there. Even if, obviously, if you have a contract, that's a totally different situation. But even just in your conversations, you do have to be careful about that for sure. Another piece of advice I would say is don't ask for permission. I think a lot of young filmmakers, especially young female filmmakers, feel the need that they need permission, or they need someone to tell them okay, you're ready to make this thing, and don't wait for that permission. You can make it. It may not be the it may not be the everything that you wanted because it's your first thing, but go out, make it, learn from the experience, and then make your next thing and make your next thing and just keep making stuff.
What I don't know about you, and if you have, please share. I've never heard of a filmmaker who's been like, "Yep, did everything I wanted to with this film. It's perfect. I'm done."
Yeah.
Right? It's just always, I think, no matter how much money you have, no matter how skilled you are, we as just people are constantly growing. So every time you do something, you're going to learn so much that the next one you're going to do is going to be so much better. This whole idea of waiting, I see a lot of that in LA. I don't know if you have that where you live, but there's a lot of I have to wait till I get $5 million to make this movie. And the reality is in 2019, if you're waiting for a large chunk of money, I'm not saying you'll never get it. I'm not saying you shouldn't chase it. I'm just saying if you need to create art, maybe continue chasing the 5 million and figure out something else that you're also really passionate about that you can do with a more realistic budget that is attainable.
Yeah.
Right? Go fight that, go pursue that. But let's be honest, as we go further and further in this world where, independent films are so common and so standard, budgets are forever shrinking for us. Going out saying, well, this famous person in the 80s made a first film for $3 million is not really comparable.
Right. Totally.
So I love that idea of just don't let anything stop you.
Yeah. Don't let anything stop you, but also do what you need to do. Have a lot of projects going. Have the 5 million project over here, but have the 50 grand project over here that you can raise that and be creative with that. And don't do that forever. After you made your first movie, try to get bigger each time. Don't be the guy that's only making those size movies. But
unless that's what you want to do.
Unless you want to live your dreams. If that's your thing, do it. But have different size projects going, for sure.
What do you think are the biggest differences between Los Angeles and New York?
The weather and the traffic.
Anything about like the people or like the filmmaking community?
The filmmaking community in New York is very small but very tight. I was able to make a lot of friends, meet a lot of people very quickly. It's just a much more intimate setting. Just because there's so many things going on in New York, it's not the main industry of New York City. So, the film people all find each other. And in LA, it is the main industry it's Hollywood. So, it's much more of an industry. But I think both are awesome, and I think one should live in the place that speaks more to them. I've lived in LA. I live in New York right now. I would move back to LA if it made sense for me to move back. I deeply love both cities.
I have to say, I have an affinity for both. I haven't spent a lot of time in New York, and people ask me all the time, like, how do you pick between the two? So for me, when I was looking, because I lived in Ohio, and I was like, obviously New York was closer at the time, and I was like, well, two things. I had a car, and selling it, I would have lost money. So I was like, I still have some years left in this car that doesn't make any sense to get rid of, and having a car in New York is not the brightest move, in my opinion. And
No,
also,
it's
I'm
not.
a bad driver. So if you can't drive well, do not go to New York. I've driven there once, never again in my entire life will I ever do that. It was a nightmare. And $90 for overnight parking.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
So ridiculous. But then also, like, the cost of living was so much lower in LA. So that's my two tips of advice when people are like, where should I live if they don't live in one or the other?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, take that into account. If cost of living is a concern in LA, you can really find reasonably priced places to live. How would you recommend people assess where to live if they don't live in New York or LA?
Well, so in New York, like, I had a car when I was living in LA, and then I got rid of it when I moved to New York, because you really don't need a car. There's subways, there's taxis, you can walk, people walk. You can walk down the sidewalk and see other people walking down the sidewalk, which is more rare in LA. So, it's, what are you more into? What's your vibe? What's your way of living? What are you more inspired by? There's different types of architecture in both of these areas. But both cities are totally lovely. And then in terms of filmmaking, I mean, there's more television shows. There's more stuff, more industry stuff happening in LA. So what do you want to get involved in? Do you want to get involved in indie film? Not that there's not indie film in LA, because there certainly is. But there's a lot of it in New York. So it really just depends on you as an individual and your ultimate goals for what you want to accomplish. And yeah.
Now, what is next for you?
So I have a creepy boarding school movie that I've written. So hoping that'll go soon. And yeah, The Ranger. So The Ranger's on Blu-ray and DVD, available on Amazon. But it is coming to Shudder soon. So keep an eye out for that. So there's going to be a whole bunch of Ranger stuff we're doing very soon too.
And I will put links to all of that down below. And then also the movie that you are producing with Larry.
Yep.
What is that looking like as far as release? Or do you know anything?
We don't know yet. We're in post right now. So hopefully we'll have info very soon.
And do you tend to do festival screenings or independent screenings with your films typically? I know The Ranger did a very successful festival run.
Thank you. No, we're obsessed with festivals. I'm obsessed with festivals. I love festivals. It's like all I want to do is go. Last year with The Ranger, I tried to go to as many festivals as possible. And it was like the dream, the perfect year. I loved it so much. So yes, we're big fans of festivals. And it's just like in the world that we live in right now, the festival circuit is kind of like your theatrical release when you're a small movie. So really taking advantage of that, using the festival circuit for your movie in terms of press is really just, to generate buzz, is really just an accessible way for small filmmakers to get the word out about their movie. What
are some of your favorite festivals that you experienced?
South by Southwest is amazing. So The Ranger premiered there, and then I had 2 movies that I produced that premiered there. It's so much fun. Austin is a great city. Fantastic Fest is also so much fun. And there's 2 different parts of the year. You have March and you have September. So it gives you 2 reasons to go to Austin over the course of the year. We had such a great time at Fright Fest in London.
Oh, I love that one so much. I was there. I've been there before. They're great.
Yeah.
They premiered Truth or Dare.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like the guys that run it are so much fun. They really want.
And you met all 4, right?
Yep.
Okay, because sometimes people don't meet all 4, and they'll be like, no, there's not 4. I was like, oh no, trust me, there are. You just not everybody meets all 4 of them because they're all like 4 completely different human beings, which I love.
Yeah, it's very
and they
cool.
all they love like different movies, and they go to different screenings, so like they're not all like the same person.
Yeah, no, they're so lovely. They really made us feel at home there. We had an amazing time there. I went to Morbido in Mexico City, and that was really cool because they took us, it was cool for a lot of reasons, but also they took us to visit pyramids, which was like my favorite, one of my favorite experiences from the festival circuit. So yeah, I mean, Chattanooga Film Festival is really fun. It's like such a good place to bond with other filmmakers. They take you on field trips and stuff. Yes, lots of good film festivals out there.
So you mentioned festivals. I'm such a huge fan. What is some of your advice for fellow filmmakers doing a successful film festival run?
Figure out the festival that makes sense for your movie. Figure out what your movie is, do your research, figure out the vibe and the tone of the different festivals, because they're even hard, like even a bunch of horror festivals have very different tones. So figure out the right place to premiere, because that's going to be really important. Once you've submitted and you're in the festival, use that festival to generate buzz as much as possible. So by that I mean like leading up to your premiere date, that's the time when you want to start releasing things like posters and trailers, really creating a lot of excitement about the big premiere. And then, you know, we tried to play as many festivals as possible with the Ranger, and it was really lovely because it was just like an experience to go. We started talking about it as like we were on tour, and we got to go like from city to city and like meet all the people in those cities, and it was like so cool and so fun to meet all those people. So really embrace the festival circuit and think of it in a long-term way, and then just like enjoy it.
Do you know how many film festivals the Ranger played at?
It played over 50.
That's so fantastic. Do you know how many awards it won? Because I know it was winning a lot.
I don't know. I don't think it won that many. It won some. We won like...
It did very well.
Thanks. We won like some audience awards, but we won like best like soundtrack at a couple places, and we won at one festival movie that most deserves to be turned into, or that most deserves a sequel. So yeah, it was fun. It was a cool experience.
Well, like managing expectations, it's funny how sometimes people don't quite get that. Obviously, when you're playing these bigger festivals like South by Southwest, if you're the lowest budget movie that's screening, I'm not saying you won't win an award. I'm just saying manage expectations.
Oh yeah, it's
right?
important.
Like, it's great if you get in there, but realistically, is the audience going to pick your movie or pick that $10 million movie with a star in it? Right? Like, I would say they should pick the Ranger.
Yeah.
But they often don't.
Yeah. It depends. It depends on the festival. There's so many variables, but overall, it's just like getting to go to the festival and experience it is just so joyful.
Well, thank you so very much for coming on. It was an absolute honor.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
So I'm going to put all the links down below. Definitely keep in touch with her. She is one to watch. And for you guys here over on Scream Queen Stream, don't forget to hit the like button down below and also subscribe. We produce new videos every single week and 10 billion bonus points if you join the Patreon. Thanks, guys.